Last time we built an automation that saves your idea from Telegram to Airtable so you never forget an idea again. But I ran out of time and some essential features such as sending a voice message. I want to make a video about N8N automation that saves my ideas. Or dropping a file. Here I'm dropping a file with about 20 content ideas into my Telegram bot. And look at that, all 20 ideas are being put into my Airtable. Is what we're going to build today. Let's have a quick look where we left off last time. We have a Telegram trigger that works currently with a written message. We normalize the message. We feed it to AI who adds any missing information and gives us nice JSON output. Then we separate one array into several different items with our code node. And then the Airtable node creates a record in my Airtable. Like this, whenever I have an idea, I can type something into my phone, into Telegram, like I want to make a video about N8N automations. And if I then send this off, we're going to execute the workflow and look at that. And then here we can see my Airtable row being filled out, creating a powerful workflow with N8N automations. AI generated a hook. We got a description. And we got the priority. And here the status, I can make it an idea. If I would change it to approved, there is a little automation here in Airtable that I configured here in the automation section that would then move this idea to the production schedule. So like this, I can feed up ideas, I can revise it, I can prepare them. And as soon as I decide that I actually want to record that video, I push it to the production schedule table. But of course, I don't want this automation only to work with written messages. I also want to make it work when I send an audio message, and I also want to make it work when I drop a file. So let's build this out. The first thing what we need to do is we need to delete the connection we have here. And we're going to take that and move it a little bit out of the way. What we need to add first is a switch model that will give us different routes to go down. And the first value that we want is going to be our voice message. So what I need to do is I'll need to send a quick voice message, then execute step. Then here we will see, currently we have a text message, but we want the voice message to appear here. So we can have one route filtered to the voice message, one route filtered to the text message, and one route filtered to a file. All right, let's start with the voice message. Okay, I'm sending a voice message and I want to make a video about N8N automations. There you go, we send this voice message. In order that we see it in the switch module, we had to execute the Telegram trigger first. Now we see here a voice message. Let's go back to the switch. Now that we actually executed the Telegram trigger again, we now see here that we have a voice. So I'm going to drag this voice in here. Very nice. I'm going to choose here an object and we're going to choose is not empty. Like this, we filtered out the first route that when a voice message is existing. Then we're going to have a second route for the files, and we're going to have a third route for the normal text message that we're going to configure later. So now we can see here that we have 3 routes created. We're going to go down the first route, which is filtered for a voice message. And what we're going to need is an HTTP request that is going to get our file. What the Telegram trigger gives us here, the voice message, is not the right data or not the right link to the actual file that we can download and then later transcribe the audio message. So what we need to do is we need to put here the URL. This is a URL that if you ask ChatGPT regarding a content bot in Telegram, it will give you the URL, and what you have to put in is your API key and then basically your file ID. So I've copied that prompt, which is http API telegram.org, then your bot number. And after that, what you grade out is your API key. I'm not going to share that with you, but then behind the ID, you drop the file ID here. There you go. Let's try this out. There you go. What we got now here in JSON, but also if we look in the table view, is the actual link to download the audio file. So that was step number 1. Very good. Now we're gonna add another HTTP module that will actually download file. We're gonna call this one download file. Very good. We can actually go back and call that one get file. Very nice. So we have those configured nicely. This again is the URL that was prepared from ChatGPT. It's pretty much a similar thing. You will have your API key here, and then in the end, you just have a slash. And what you're going to drop there is the file path to actually download the audio file. So again, we just need to put in here the URL, and we're going to execute step. And what you should see is something like that. That is called data. And with the downloaded button, is basically has downloaded the file. Great. Again, a little recap. We have filtered the Telegram trigger to a voice message, which will send it down this route. Then we're going to get a file. We retrieve the true path to the download audio file, and then we download it. And now we're going to add a AI model, and we're going to go for OpenAI, and we're going to go for transcribe a recording. It should basically be perfectly set already. Resource is audio, transcribe a recording, and we want down here data. We're just going to execute the step. And then it should already here, look, we have a text file. Okay, I'm sending a voice message. I want to make a video about end-to-end automation. Well, N8N, but fair enough. It transcribed our audio. And that's already basically it, what we had to do. Now we have a text message, and now we can connect it here. And we can connect the last route, which we're just going to leave empty, which is basically going to be the text message. We're going to connect it both to our current workflow, and it should already work flawlessly. The only thing that we need to adjust in the normalized text message, we need to change this expression here to this one, which basically says that it can either be JSON text, which will be the audio message, or JSON message text, which will be the text message. It is now red because we haven't executed the step, but we can execute the step, and look at that. It has read and taken our audio message text. Let's try this out. We're going to send another voice message. I want to make a video about coding a analytics app. There you go. We're going to execute the workflow. It is sending this path. It is transcribing the AI model and is working, and then it's going to create a record. And if you look here, another row will appear. There you go. That is said, building a real-time analytics dashboard, AI coding. We got a hook, we got a description, and it is saved to our table. Very nice. This concludes the first step, saving audio messages to our Airtable, that we never forget an idea again. Now we want to go even one more step further. I want to be able to send a file containing several episodes, plannings, or ideas at one time, and I want my table to be populated with those ideas. So let's build out this workflow. We're going to go to the Telegram trigger. Now what we need to do is we actually need to send a file so that we can execute that step that we can then use in the switch module to filter for the file. Okay, let's do that quickly. I've prepared a file here that I can drop. I will send it. I will execute this step. And now look here, we have got the document. That's what we needed so that we can go to the switch module. We can here drag the document, and then we go again. That is an object and is not empty. So now we filter here for the voice message, we filter here for the document, and the last one we're just going to leave empty because the text message will just go through like this. All right, very good. So we're going to take this one here, and we also going to put again an HTTP request. Is pretty much the same thing as before. We need the URL to get file first. So I prepared this URL. Again, is not a URL that you will have through the Telegram trigger. You need to prepare that with your Godfather bot from Telegram or with ChatGPT. It will give you the right URL that looks something like this. You will need to put your API key again, and then the file ID equals, and you're gonna drop the file ID here. That way, when you execute the step, it will get the right file path from your document file, the same as with the audio, which is what we need in the next step. Let's build this out down here. When we add now another HTTP module, which we're gonna call download file, we again gonna paste the URL, and the URL looks again the same way as the other one did, slightly different than the previous URL, but again we have the URL to the bot, and then you'll have your API key that you see grayed out here, and then what we need to add after the slash is the file path from the get file module, and that's it. We will execute the step, and again we will get the data with the download button output, which means we downloaded the file. The next step and module that we're going to add is called extract from file. What we want is we want to extract from text file, and basically we want to extract all the text, and the destination output field should be text. The rest can be left, and then we're going to execute the step, and we get all the text that is from my file. If you look at it in a table, you see that this is a bunch of text in the file, actually suggesting the next 20 episodes or so. That was a document that I did a while ago. However, it's perfect as an example, and I really want the AI to extract basically the idea, a short description out, and just put it in my Airtable, so I have all 20 episodes as potential episodes that I can record, and I will not forget. So perfect, this step worked. Now we're going to add the AI model. For that, I'm going to choose AI, I'm going to choose Anthropic, and I'm going to choose the message model. The resource is text. The model, I will go with Sonnet 4. We're gonna add 2 prompts. One is gonna be the assistant prompt that I have prepared previously. Let's have a closer look on how I structured that. Is what the prompt is basically saying is your strict JSON generator for Airtable return only valid minified JSON with no commentary, no backtick, and no markdown. If the input text contains multiple ideas, topics, episodes, steps, or itemized content, you must split them into separate JSON objects. Always return an array of objects, even if there's only one idea. So that's the JSON structure that I want the output of, and then I added some rules. Infer missing details sensibly. So if there's something missing like description or hook, they should add it. Constraint fields to allow values. Never output additional fields. Never output explanations. So that's basically the assistant message. I will add another message, which will be a user message. I have also already prepared the prompt. The message says that it should take the text. It's red right now because we didn't execute the step yet. Your task, identify how many distinct ideas, topics, episodes, sections, or content items exist in the message. Split them into separate JSON objects. For each idea, generate title, content pillar, hook, description, and priority. This is basically what my Airtable structure looks like. Content pillar rules, select based on the message topic. If unclear, pick the best. Priority rules, high, time sensitive, medium, and low. And again, just reminding him only return JSON array of objects. Well, that's basically it. And if we execute that step, we will see here one item. The problem is, why did it only give us so little? Because we need to actually do one more step. We need to add an option and we need to set the maximum number of tokens. And I'm going to put it to 60,000 because the text might be long. And we have 20 episodes, so it needs to go through a lot. So now if I execute the step, it should actually take a little bit more time. And it should be able to go through the entire text message and come out with a bunch of notes. There you go. Now we have a much longer message. We have one item though. So the next step is to take that and separate the different ideas. All right. So the next module is we're going to use a code node, which I had prepared some JavaScript also by AI, basically with the goal of take one array of text and have an item for each separate content idea. So if we execute the step, what you see here, we have one big text, and this JavaScript code node, what it did is it put it out in very structured and nice JSON data. So now what we need to do is we need a split out module that takes the ideas from the code node, takes the ideas, we drag the ideas here, and then that's it. We execute step, and now we get 4 items. So basically what I did, it got 4 ideas or 4 content ideas out of my text message. Now we all set and ready to just add the Airtable module. And again, it's a create a record module. We will just need to connect it to our account, which we already did. Then the base, I call it content machine. The table should be the ideas pipeline. And then we just map each of those outputs from the split into our table row, basically. So the title goes to the title, the content pillar to content pillar. Obviously in the JSON prompt and how we have prepared it is that this is already matching exactly our table. Why doesn't it go there now? And then priority to priority and the status. Actually, we're going to hard code it to idea. There you go. And now if we execute that step, if we pull up our Airtable, it will pull all these ideas and fill out. There you go. Most amazingly, all of our ideas that we had in there. Very nice. That worked great. Here I'm dropping a file with about 20 content ideas into my Telegram bot. It gets triggered. The AI model is working for a while and then it gets split out, and we're gonna create a Airtable records. Since there are about 25 ideas, it's gonna take a long time. And look at that, all 20 ideas are being put into my Airtable. So now whether I drop a voice message, I drop a file, or just write text, this automation is gonna structure, add, and fill out my Airtable. You just saw us build an automation that at any point of time, you can pull out your phone, you can send a voice message, and your idea gets saved into Airtable. Or if you have a longer brainstorming session with ChatGPT or Claude or any other AI, you go back and forth on planning some of your new content ideas. You can make the AI create a PDF or text file or markdown file in the end with all of the ideas, and then you just drop it into the Airtable bot, and all of your ideas again are saved to the Airtable. If you like what you see, we're going to continue building useful automations. Please subscribe and leave a comment below.